6 p.m. Tuesday, May 13th. County of Grand Rapids meeting is now called to order. First item on our agenda is public hearing. Grand Rapids Town Board will conduct a public hearing on the following items. Judy, if you'd read the notice, please.
Changes to Ordinance 52 regulating zoning. Amendment to Section 62.6D9 regulating the number and size of off-premise real estate signs and establishing a permit to exceed said number of signs. Creation of Section 52.7D, which actually that was a typo, it should have been 52.6D16, regulating the number of, size of, and time limit allowed for temporary on and off premise signs advertising the sale of items. Creation of Section 52.3J7 to prohibit the location of driveways within 5 feet of any side or rear lot line. Amendment of Section 52.3K to clarify the yard regulations and allow off-street parking spaces within portion of side and rear yard setback areas. Creation of Section 52.3N to regulate mobile tower siting to the maximum extent possible under Section 66.0404 Wisconsin Stats. Change wording of mobile home to manufactured home in entire ordinance. Amendment to Section 52.7J to remove wording of cost of moving manufactured home permit with cost of fee to be added to Ordinance 39, Schedule of Fees and Forfeitures. Creation of Section 52.2A 44, definition of outdoor wood burning furnace. Creation of Section 52.3J 8, regulated wood burning furnaces requiring furnace permit to not create a public or private nuisance and shall be installed, operated, and maintained in accordance with manufacturer's instructions, UL listing, and EPA and DNR air quality standards in effect at the time of application for the permit.
Okay, you heard the ordinance, and a complete copy was available for inspection. Any residents have any questions as to the changes? And primarily these changes were developed by the board over the last 5 to 6 months with the aid of our attorney and our building inspector. We noticed or were able to identify misnotations in our ordinance compared with the current state statutes. Those corrections are being made and some terminology is being made, especially where it refers to mobile home versus manufactured home. So the ordinance is needed to come into compliance with the current language. So that being said, is any comments on the ordinance changes? Mr. Ronhead?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I commend you guys for keeping these things up to date, and I particularly appreciate seeing the changes to the outdoor wood burning furnace in there, or the addition of that. I think that's not onerous, not detrimental to anybody that either has one or wishes to install one, and it still provides some measure of protection for the neighbors, our community, that in order to maintain some semblance of a clean air situation.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak to it? First, before I ask for those in favor and those against, anybody wishing to ask comments on it? That being said, anybody wishing to speak against the adoption of the changes, you may speak. Anybody wishing to speak against the adoption of the changes may speak. Third and final time, anybody wishing to speak against the adoption of the changes? Hearing none. Anybody wish to speak in favor of the changes? Anybody anybody wishing to speak in favor of the changes? Mr. Hatt?
My comments were meant to be in favor.
That's right.
A little bit out of place, I guess. I'm
No,
sorry.
you really weren't, because I was asking for general first.
Okay.
And third and final time, anybody wishing to speak in favor? Hearing no other comments, I'll call the public hearing closed and move to our regular agenda items. First item on our agenda is to approve the agenda for the meeting. Any corrections, changes? Hearing none, first item number 2, approval of resolution 2014-08, amending ordinance 52 zoning. Someone wish to make that recommendation?
I'll make the recommendation of approving the resolution 2014-08, amending ordinance number 52 zoning with the correction of item number 2 for the correction of section 52.7D16 to 52.6D16.
I'll second that.
And seconded by Dan. Any further board discussion? Bill?
So it wasn't a typo on the notice, it was a typo in the ordinance itself?
No, it was my typo when I typed up the ordinance and when I typed up the resolution.
So the ordinance does not have to be changed to
No.
reflect that?
No, the ordinance is 52.6D. I mistakenly put 52.7D. And I did cut and paste it when I did it onto the resolution, so.
And I just want to clarify one thing on driveways. Just side yard, is that correct? Just any side or rear lot line? So if my house, this is the front of my house, and my house can be closer than 5 feet from the neighbor's driveway, but it can't be on the side or the rear. Yeah, I mean, if we just look at what it
Not
says.
the house,
House
it's
can only be-
the driveway.
Referring to the driveway.
Right.
House needs to be 9, isn't it, Bill? From a side lot line?
In between you and your neighbor's driveway, it can't be less than 5 feet. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Well,
Well, no.
could be 10 feet. 5 from each side.
It can't be less than 5 feet, you know, from his driveway. So there's 10 feet in between.
From your lot line, isn't it?
And, okay, so say it
If you got a
is.
lot line, you got 5 feet on
5
this
feet.
side, 5 feet on this
Yeah,
side, so
right,
you're
so
gonna be 10.
10 feet away. Well, what about some that are closer right now? They're just grandfathered in, right?
Correct.
And we did not put in a definition of a driveway.
I can't answer that, Bill.
I would think that.
We have a
that-
driveway ordinance.
And we have a driveway permit.
Right.
So if I'm just parking something, I have already a driveway, and I put another one in closer to my neighbor, I have to have a permit for it, or I back into my trailer, or I go on to my other vacant lot. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's grandfathered in too, huh? Okay. I'm glad that's all clear.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for the board members for all your work on that. That was quite the time-consuming project. Item 3 is to approve minutes of the March 24th and April 8th town board meetings.
Also moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion Bill, second
I'll second.
Dan. Any further discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Motion carried. Item 4 is our public comment period. People who wishing to address this board will be limited to 2 minutes each, with public comment limited to be no longer than 30 minutes. Anybody in the audience wish to speak to the board on any subjects? Yes.
Jeremy Welsh, I'd just like to thank Chief Bone. He brought over the fire truck we just built here in Grand Rapids and made sure that the driveway was wide enough and check to see if they can reach the heights of it. So I want to thank him and his team for being so supportive. It's one of the reasons why we like this community.
Thank you. I know Mr. Bowen has always asked to have good access to anybody's property in that unforeseen case that we might need to get there, and he indeed talked to me about your property, and he made sure there was plenty of room for everything to come in there, and we commend you for asking us and contacting with us. Anybody else wish to speak to the board? Mr. Hatt?
Thank you. I'm hoping that you might, you or some of the board members might explain a little bit each item as we go through them just briefly. And particularly number 10, I'm not, review and approve 2014 road construction projects. I'd like to hear what they are rather than just...
We have them, and we'll go through
Thank
them.
you.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Any other? Hearing none, then I'll call the public comment period closed. Go again, moving to opening and approval of bids for approximately 500 tons of 100% 3/4 inch gravel. We have 2 documents, I do believe. First one is from Bone Trucking and Excavating. On board, Bone Trucking and Excavating agrees to deliver approximately 500 tons of 3/4 gravel on a per ton basis, only in the town of Grand Rapids at $10.95 per ton. This is from Melodic Road Materials. On board, we will supply and deliver approximately 500 tons of 3/4 minus 100% fractured crushed rock road based anywhere in the town, the price of $9.95 per ton for the duration of the 2014 contract. Those are the 2 that I have. I'm looking for a motion to accept one or the other.
I'll make a motion to accept the lowest bidder of $9.95 of Laddick Trucking.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Patty, but motion Bill, second Patty. Any discussion? And if we need less, that's typically is what it is. We don't necessarily have to take it all.
So whatever they need, that's
right.
That's what it's for, so it's up to,
Mm-hmm.
but not. And is there any difference between the material?
Probably the same pit's gonna come out of, just a matter of
Okay.
how they, we typically will see the range of the quotes, well, being about differences from one or the other.
Okay.
A lot of times it's depending on if they have backhauls and stuff like that, they can bring it back cheaper.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion to approve Laddick at $9.85 per ton.
Aye.
Made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye too. Any opposed? None. Okay, we'll move to monthly reports from departments. Fire Department Chief Don Bowen.
Good evening, town board, residents. For the last month, we are currently staffed at full staffing of 55 members, 5 members that are strictly EMS. I guess like we mention every year or every month, we are interested in people getting involved, getting on the fire department. We do have people that are looking towards someday retiring or backing down to auxiliary modes and stuff, so we need to keep new people coming in and getting involved in the community. So if you have any interest in volunteering or helping us out in any way, shape, or form, just get a hold of myself and we'll see what you can do to help the community. We did have 24 calls for service this month. 18 were EMS calls. We did have 1 structure fire, 1 chimney fire, 1 carbon monoxide call, 2 motor vehicle accidents, and due to our rain every other day, we did only have 1 grass fire. It is greening up nicely. The DNR is still cautioning us that we're not totally out of the woods yet, so exercise some caution if you're burning anything that does require a permit and things of that nature. So hopefully we haven't had too many burning complaints of people burning things they aren't supposed to, but try to keep that in check. Our training for the month, our RIT team is still conducting training with some of the newer members on there. They're going to be going through some training activities in conjunction with our monthly training itself, and they are having their own meeting just for the RIT team. The EMS did just complete their refresher course last month, so they did have their meeting actually last on the 8th for the month. They went over some of our protocol changes. There have been some changes in as far as some of the procedures that the first responders are now legally able to perform and stuff. So it takes a lot of paperwork to get all the stuff through the state process of being permitted to do those things. And the other thing they went through, checking their equipment, checking everything medically related has expirations. We need to check all that stuff to make sure everything is current and up to snuff. And went through some lifting safety. Back injuries are real prevalent in any medical transporting, and we try to train them to use their head and not their back. So hopefully we can continue to not have any work comp injuries resulting from the first responder program. The fire department, we will be training at Grant School next Monday night. We'll be training with the Village of Buren Fire Department. Rudolph is actually going to be sending a tanker or two down. We'll be doing some tanking between the boat landing on Wazeecha and so you will see trucks going back and forth there. We're going to be doing some internal attacks on some of the major buildings that we have. Obviously, we won't spray any water inside the buildings, but like you say, some of the larger structures that we have take a lot of training to get proficient at going into them and operating if we ever do have a fire in some of the larger structures that mid-state techs and stuff of that nature. So we'll be out there approximately 7 o'clock on Monday night, and I'm guessing we'll be there till dark. So anybody's interested in coming out, there's obviously places that you can safely come out and watch and see what the fire department does, and encourage people to come out and better entertainment than you'll find on TV. So with that, our public relations, we did host our Easter egg hunt again last month. Smashing success. We held it at Mid-State Tech. We get contributions from the majority of the businesses in the area. I guess we've never counted how many children and stuff are there, but there's a lot. And it's a nice event. The weather wasn't the nicest, but it was okay. So that went good. The health department, Chief Pedersen and myself went to a training drill that the health department put on. It's the preliminary to a mass, basically an inoculation. If something were to ever epidemic of any type of stuff, it's in the health department's realm of coordinating this, but law enforcement, fire, and everybody would be involved in it. You said it's training for things that we hope never happen, but if you never train, things can go awry. So we did participate in the initial tabletop training exercise for that. And this fall there will be a training exercise at Mid-State Tech, which is one of the 2 sites for Wood County, as far as if there was ever any type of something that the public needed to be inoculated for. So that was interesting. Is training, and you can use the same thing as on any type of disasters. It's the incident command system is very prevalent in it, and good training. We did do some residential house touring. We, like I said, took our old aerial truck over to Pavelski's and did some driveway checking. We very much appreciate that. We've had neighbors or residents in the past that have asked us to come and do that, and it makes it a whole lot nicer that we know that we can get into your residence. Like you say, these are large trucks, overhanging trees and stuff like that can hinder the trucks from getting in. So I guess when you go into your properties, look at them and determine whether a fire truck can get into your property if necessary. Quite frequently, things get cleared out when they're built, and over the 20 years of overgrowing, make it very difficult for trucks to get in. And for what the trucks cost, we, you know, we won't tear the top off the truck to get into a house. So, like you say, pay attention, and if you need any advice as far as things to make changes, we'll come out, we'll survey your property, take a look at what our needs are, and the DNR offers similar programs and stuff, and we encourage people to consider doing that before you call 911 and then, you know, and somebody can't, necessary equipment can't get in to help you, so. Obviously, as you saw tonight, we are proceeding with the process of replacing ladder 1. We did have a manufacturer out of Appleton that had brought a demonstrator truck over tonight to look at. We're exploring numerous different vendors and options, so it's a pretty time-consuming process of going through the process to make sure that we get the truck that's going to serve the community for the next 30 years built right the first time. So, and other than that, I did meet with the Riverview Foundation today to go over our grant request for a change to our six-wheeler, which is a tool that we utilize for if somebody's injured in the wood, back in the woods, hunter falls out of a tree, things of that nature. We utilize it a lot on the state cross-country meet at the ridges and stuff like that. We transport the patients when they become overexhausted in those races and stuff. And we're looking at making some changes to that to provide better patient care for the people if necessary. And hopefully we'll have a favorable response from the Riverview Foundation and get that piece of equipment updated a little bit. Any questions on the fire department side of things?
Shirley?
How much does that truck out there that was sitting there cost?
I don't have an exact price. It's they're probably in the 600,000 range.
Mr. Head?
Mid-States training is next Monday at 7?
No.
No, we're at Grant School. Grant Elementary.
Oh, Grant.
Grant.
Oh, why did I hear Mid-State?
Well, I mentioned Mid-State. Mid-State's a type of structure,
Okay.
but Grant is one that we haven't been out to, and so we're gonna go out there. Grant doesn't have any hydrants, Mid-State does, so.
Okay.
Chief, just for the public again, we kind of forget about it from time to time. Would you explain the RIT program and the value for it and what RIT means?
RIT stands for Rapid Intervention Team. They're specialized trained firefighters that are positioned at a fire scene of a structure fire. They're there to rescue the firefighters if something happens. If a floor collapses, a roof collapses on the firefighters, they have the specialized training to hopefully go in and be able to pull those firefighters out. It doesn't happen very often. In my career, we did have one roof failure that we had 2 firefighters trapped in a burning structure for a sizable period of time. It's a very scary event, and hopefully these people have the specialized training and the ability to go in. And part of it is they're on standby. They're not going to be out there fighting the fire. Their goal is to be there, be fresh, ready to go in. So if the bad thing happens, we have 3 or 4 or 5 fresh bodies. Each fire department typically, when we have a structure fire, will send 1 or 2 people. So you're not taking the whole resources of the host department to do this. We might get 2 guys from Rome, 1 from Port Edwards, 1 from Nakusa, 1 from Buren or something like that. And their response is to just come and be the people that are going to go in. And obviously they're going to be assisting us, the host department if it happens, but their purpose is to rescue the firefighters if something unfortunate happens. So.
One of the other things you might want to mention is the specialized air tank connections and that so that they can assist.
Yeah, they have, we have a special pack that, if somebody's trapped in a building, they only have so much air in the pack that they have. So we have the ability to take other air tanks in to try to couple onto that firefighter that's obviously been down, especially if he's in a hazardous environment, and the adrenaline, he's going to be going through that air quicker by the time they get to him. So it's critical to take that air supply in to couple onto his existing system, so he can because if they're trapped, it might take a little bit of time to get them out and stuff. So there's quite a bit of training that goes into the specialized stuff. You know, a lot of it's through Mid-State Tech, a lot of it is specialized similar, you know, seminars that different fire departments, quite frequently the Milwaukee area fire departments and stuff host some very good trainings, and that's because Milwaukee has a whole lot more structure fires than we do, so they understand the necessity for the ability to, like you say, hopefully get everybody out of the house, and like you said, we're all, you know, the volunteers that we're dealing with are no different than anybody else, and we want to make sure they go home at the end of the day, so.
Thank you. Any other questions of the chief on the fire?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
This probably doesn't pertain to the meeting, but I'm curious because there was so many fire trucks on the expressway about 3 weeks ago, and about 3 cops' cars around there, and nothing's been in the paper on it. Nothing was on the news. I was just wondering, it was by Home Depot. It was past Home Depot on the expressway.
Oh,
What was going on there?
it was just a 10-15 car. There was a car way up in the woods on the north side.
Nothing was in the paper on it though.
That was
With
rapid.
all that equipment out there, you'd think, you know, something would be.
I guess, you know, we don't call the Tribune when something happens. If they show up, they do. I guess we've offered it to them. You know, they could be notified if they wanted to be, but I mean, we don't have any control over when they show up, and
Okay.
I mean, we've had house fires and never had anybody from the Tribune show up, so. But sometimes they're there, I guess, you know, sometimes they are dealing with, if they're not working that day, I don't know if they have the ability to just come in on their own, but, yeah, that was just it was a car accident, but it was hard to see because the car was so far up in the woods.
Yeah, I didn't see one I went by. I was looking for it myself, and I says, what's all this going on?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Patty had one, yes.
Yes, I was wondering, your Indianapolis trip, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I guess, you know, we went down to the FDIC, which is the Fire Department Instructors Conference. It's the largest trade show in the fire service. Basically, you had the entire Indianapolis Convention Center and the sports arena that the Indianapolis Pacers play in was solid vendors of every fire truck manufacturer was there in the world. Like you say, we talked to so many vendors. Like you say, we went there with the idea of getting ideas, making contacts with the vendors that do make these trucks, so we can, you know, I've been contacted by numerous ones that want to sell trucks, and like I say, it's just, you know, there was 2 days of going through the convention center that it was just truck after truck, and like I say, it's all these trucks are typically, they're not like going down to the Chevy dealer that you have 10 of them that are the same make, and you know, they don't build them the same way. They're built on an assembly line, but every one of them is customized. It's you know, so the process of building these from the ground up, the tires are probably about the only thing that might be uniform from one truck to the other, some of the motor components, but
One of the interesting things you mentioned to me about is how every one of them seemed to attack the rust corrosion differently, wasn't it?
yeah, we've, you know, like I said, met with a lot of the different vendors. You always think that down south they wouldn't be dealing with salt. Well, they have the salt air, just, you know, they don't apply it to the roads in the winter like we do. Mother Nature does it for them all year, so you know, one of the key concerns, and you know, that takes away the life of these trucks is corrosion. So, you know, we want to look at which ones offer the best corrosion packages, which one, you know, and it's amazing. Some of them tell you it's a major concern for them. Other ones tell you, no, we designed the truck to be built 30 years, or to operate 30 years, or 20 years, excuse me, and you know, they don't key on the corrosion issue as much as I feel that it's important, because of, you know, we want to get 30 years out of this truck, and you know, if we have to do a little more corrosion protection when it's built, and hopefully we can get that 30-year mark out of it. So, but you know, like you say, there's, you know, we took pictures of so many trucks that it was hard to keep track of which trucks were whose, and but basically just the contacts of all the different brands that are out there. There's, you know, nobody builds a bad truck, but you know, you say, it's very interesting as far as, you know, dealing with that many salespeople. They all have the best thing out there on the market, and other guys' stuff isn't quite as good, and they like to tell you the differences, so. But it was basically a fact-finding mission, and we found a lot of it. Like you say, the plant tours are gonna be very critical in this process. I guess, just looking at the trucks at the show, it's kind of like going through the home show. You see how good the drywaller was and how good the carpenter was and the painter, but you don't see how the integral parts of it were built, so.
Okay, any other questions? Now, would you proceed with the safety department?
Well, safety department's had a great year, or great month. We had no injuries whatsoever. Trying to keep it that way, and we'll be having some meetings shortly to go over some of our annual topics and stuff, so.
Any questions? If not, thank you, Chief. Police Chief Mel Peterson.
Good evening, everyone. The Grand Rapids Police Department handled 385 calls for service in April. That compares to 328 calls for service last year during the same time frame. It represents a 17% increase in calls. Town board members should have a breakdown of those calls. There was 4 written warnings and 37 traffic citations issued during the month of April. On April 2nd, I was invited to be a guest on Sheriff Reichert's monthly radio program on WFHR AM 1320. I thought that was nice of him to invite me to be a guest on there, just to kind of reintroduce myself to the community. And also, it kind of reaffirmed the great working relationship that the town of Grand Rapids has with the Wood County Sheriff's Department and all of the law enforcement community in Wood County, and also extending obviously to Portage County with us being so close to them. So I want to thank him for that invitation. The process to fill our 3 part-time positions is nearly complete. We had 1 round of interviews, and I think we got a couple of good candidates out of that round. We're looking at another round of interviews to fill that final position, but I think we got some great candidates, and I want to thank the Police and Fire Commission for inviting me to sit in on the interviews, to be intimately involved in that selection process. Chief Bone already touched on it, that we participated in that Wood County tabletop exercise at Marshfield on April 22nd. For me personally, it was a good opportunity to put faces with names and kind of see the players, where if we had a major disaster, whether it be natural, man-made, whatever the scenario is, where I was able to make a lot of good contacts there, and like I said, put faces with names, so that if something should happen, I'm not meeting them for the first time. So that was an excellent opportunity. And again, the tabletop exercise was kind of the initial event, and then later this fall they want to have actual practical exercise where they have role players and actors and try to put it all into motion. So we'll be looking forward to that. Town of Grand Rapids participated in the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on April 26th. Town of Grand Rapids turned in over 60 pounds of unwanted pharmaceuticals on that day. Keeping in mind now that was 60 pounds collected over basically 6 months. So I think it's a great program, and we still have our drop box in here, and it's a good way of getting rid of old pharmaceuticals in a safe manner. So we'll be looking to continue with that. Vehicles in the department are all doing real well outside of normal maintenance. Chief Bone kind of stole my thunder tonight. He brought in his new red fire truck, or sitting out here. And I wanted to invite everybody, our new squad car is up and operating. We got it out on the road, and I spent a lot of time cleaning it up today just to show it off, and then the big red fire truck shows up. So anyway, so I invite anybody that's interested after the town board meeting, if they're interested in seeing their new squad car. It's parked out in the garage here, and I'll be happy to go out with anybody that wants to take a look at it and see what it looks like. And it's really nice setup, and kind of proud of it, actually. Again, if anybody has any questions, concerns, or wants to stop by and see me, stop by anytime. Thanks.
Any questions for Chief Bill?
Thank you. So it's on your report, and I like it. It's not by the day, it's just what happened in the month, right? So you're changing the report a bit.
Oh, yes. As I'm becoming more familiar with the CIS system, the old report, it's the same bottom line numbers. I think that other one was a little busy.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you just have the numbers. Yep.
And you just got the total at the end, and I like that.
Exactly.
And it can be put on 2 pages.
Right. So I'm learning that system, so.
I was gonna comment also, I like the report, it's easier to read also. And is the old police car, has that been put on the Wisconsin surplus yet?
It has
Or-
not. That'll go on shortly before next month's meeting. So at
Okay.
next month's meeting, we should have a final bid that you'll be able to take a look at.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving to item 7, approval of a new Class A liquor license for Ruby Reds LLC, agent Marcy Berlin, 4630 Bookshire Court, for the premises located at 4081 8th Street South. Ruby Reds is a gift place that wishes to serve and dispense and sell wine products, is that correct?
Not serve and dispense.
Not serve it?
This would strictly be Class A, which is.
Sales?
So they're
Okay.
looking at mainly wine, your cranberry wines. And
I
the
go so
Class A.
moved.
Bill has motioned it, seconded by Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Motion carried. All right, this is the Class B, I'm sorry, I misinterpreted my A's and my B's. You should know that. Approval of new combination Class B liquor license for Greavy HPB LLC, agent Robert Spawn, 1020 80th Street South, for the premises located at 1204 80th Street South. This is the KI Club, primarily new owners, and Robert Spawn is going to be the agent for the time being, correct?
Correct. And I do have the signed paper from Robert Spawn and Patrick Barton, the current applicants, relinquishing their current license if it's granted to these people.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the new combination Class B liquor license for Greavy HBP LLC, agent Robert Spawn.
That's good. Dan, I assume you second it? Any further discussion, board members? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I am an aye, I'm sorry, I didn't. All right, going to the back page. Not to be confused with over the back fence, Bill, right?
No.
Okay. Approval of fire chief attending state fire chiefs conference in Milwaukee, June 24th to 29th. Approximately cost this is his annual expense, roughly $1,125 total.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Bill,
I'll second that.
second by Patty. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed, motion carried. Item 10, review approval of 2014 road construction projects. All right, road construction budget was $300,000. We had to pay out this year $40,000 for the final payment to Town Line Road. We're doing 2 culverts, one's on 64th, Rick, and one on 48th Street, right? And those are on what creeks? 2 Mile Creeks, okay, thank you. Those costs are gonna be $25,000 approximate. We're gonna rebuild Gilbertson Court at $16,100 approximate. 58th Street where it goes to the south off of Woodrock, and the cul-de-sacs where it costs approximately $75,000. However, we may drop the cul-de-sacs off, which would then bring it down to
And look at your.
to 45,000, excuse me. That's the final. And then Breezy Pine Drive, we have some dips that we need to fix in several spots and some severe cracking at a cost of $27,800. 64th Street from Wazeecha to W at approximately $60,350. A small patch at the corner of Lincoln and Woodrock at approximately $5,000. Warren Drive from 75th to 76th Street at approximately $10,000. And Lake Avenue from 42nd to 23rd, we're going to do a patching process to the asphalt ceiling that's not staying attached to the road surface, I guess, the long and short of it. That cost is approximately $238,000. We would like to do these projects first and then determine what their actual leftover funds are and then try to do some more to up to that $300,000 total that we had to use. Questions?
Yes, so you went first to, so when you come to 64th Wazeecha to W,
Yes.
the amended one is 60,000, and the other one had nothing on it, right?
Right, we had, because it was on a, I guess I don't know what you mean by nothing.
Well, take the one we got. Is that why it was amended, because it didn't have that?
Yeah, we'd have to have some cost in there.
No, actually, Bill, the reason that the original page didn't have a number in there was that there was 3 options. And if you look at your
Yeah.
paperwork that you got with estimates, there were 3 different options, and I had no idea of what option of the 3 that you would have taken. So when I was just putting the numbers together for you, so you had an idea, you didn't have to try to sit here and add up 26,000 and 4,100 and 5,000 to come up with a total. You had a starting point. That's why it was blank on the original one.
So, if I may continue.
Yeah.
So this is basically a report from the Public Works Committee.
This is public, what?
This is the public-
Works recommended, yes.
And I was at that meeting, but my whole concern with this is, I think it was very important that we as a board look at these roads together, do roads, because that's the only thing towns have the road right, and come back and discuss this. But I know you said no to a road right.
I think you made the recommendation, Bill, not to have the road right. Because these road projects were from last year. Every one of these projects, with the exception of these couple smaller ones, the Warren Drive and Lake Avenue and Lincoln Rick were ones we looked at last year.
And I've
And
got
determined that they were ones we wanted to do, but we held off because the funds weren't available. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, okay, you said the total came to 238, if I heard correctly? Was that your total?
Yeah.
Well, okay, when we had the discussion on the highway expenditures, I thought the budget was 235,000 spent.
No.
No. Why not?
I don't know, where'd you come up with
Well,
235?
this year, when we had the discussion about the highway expenditures and raising the limit and all this other stuff, I asked the question, then you have $235,000 to spend this year on the road budget, and it's right there.
Actually, we have a little more than that, yes.
that you wanna spend, but you don't have the money.
Yes, we do. We budgeted 300,000.
But you take off the 40 and the 25,
What does that leave? 230, 245?
235 apparently, that's what the balance is right here, the balance on the paper.
And the 40 and the 25 were the first two items that Arnie said when he started reading these.
Yeah, right.
That's
Which is
included,
part
that's
of that
included in 235.
238,000.
Well, I thought you, on this paper here, you took off the 40 and the 25 and you were left with $235,000. Because when I asked the question, I said, that is what you have a budget for, correct?
Yes, so if we take those off that list, that's 174,000, Patty?
Just calculating here.
Take 65 off of 238.
173,
173.
Thank you.
So that's what the changes are. It's what, because we already had talked about the town line, we're already accounted for in the budget. The total budget for road construction was 300,000,
Correct.
okay? So this total right now, with those 40 and 25, was 238. So that still means if this budget and the numbers come out exactly, they don't put an ounce more blacktop on than what we think it's going to be, would leave us with roughly 60,000 at the end of this fall to do additional work.
Well,
I think board members, you'll understand that?
Yeah.
Or we could pay off some of the greater, and we talked about that.
Yep.
Dan had suggested that.
Whatever the board decides at that point in time, you'd have to be adjusting money. So what I'm looking for is the recommendation to go ahead on these projects.
Question first. Do you-
Yeah, Dan.
On these bids, do you think they're high or low or?
You
where-
never know.
You know?
You never know. They could, we're hoping that they're very close. But it all depends exactly on the amount of, we may be able to save some work, some costs of this as if we can bring in the gravel that they're gonna grind up into the surface cheaper than what the county is gonna charge us for it. And we'll have to check those numbers now that we have the new prices.
Okay.
And we may also need to go some finer gravel rather than 3/4 or the 1 inch, one or the other.
So after we do these projects, and like I said, if we decide that's enough for this year, we could take that additional money, apply it to the grader and, or
Do nothing with
do
it.
nothing.
Or do not, well, it goes back to road, or
Yeah.
to the
General,
general fund.
yeah. I'll make a motion that we,
Could I have one more question?
yeah, go ahead.
The 25,000, that was for two
Two
culverts?
culverts,
Okay,
approximate.
total, all
Mhm.
right, not each?
No.
Okay.
Didn't I send that back?
No, okay, that's okay.
All right, motion made by Dan to move the projects as presented, seconded by
Me.
Patty. Any further discussions now? Hearing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Motion 3-1. Approval of projects recommended by Public Buildings Committee. Patty, do you want to review it, or you want me to go?
No, that's fine, I can. The public buildings,
Wait, I threw it away, excuse me.
the public buildings met, and we received some bids on some work on the buildings that we thought needed repair. And one of the things that we would like to see done on the municipal building is outside caulking and sealer to the concrete on the outside. The caulking in between the panels is slowly deteriorating, so in order to prevent water damage, each of those sections need to be re-caulked. And then, of course, because of the concrete, it would need to have a sealer put on the outside of it. That cost, we had budgeted approximately $7,500, and we received bids on, proposals on that. And after review, the Public Buildings Committee suggests accepting or looking if we can accept $12,386. That's approximately $4,886 over what was budgeted for that particular job. Also on the building, there's a metal cap that goes around the outside of the perimeter. In the front of the building, it has a nice wide overlap that comes down along the front of the building. But in the back side of the building, it's only a cap of 4 inches. So that, with only having a 4-inch cap on the back side of the building, water is starting to go back behind, in between the caulking and the sections of the concrete building. So if we can replace 71 feet on the back side of the building, that will help protect water damage to continue. We had originally budgeted $3,500 for that, and we ended up with $1,890 for the end cap. So we are almost half what we had budgeted for that, so that is good. The back door, because of the fact that it's used so much and there's been water damage and whatever else with the back door, we had originally quoted or budgeted $2,500 for that. And the one that we were looking at is $2,716, which is approximately $200 over budget. The west wall window, the window that's in the police department actually does not close any longer. So in order to repair that, we had budgeted $1,450, and we can get that replaced for $1,496, which is $46 over budget. And then there is some brick that is in need of repair in the fire department, and we didn't really budget anything for that, and we ended up having $650 just to be able to patch it so that the water doesn't go back behind the brick. There is probably some more extensive work that needs to be done on the building. However, it's not been budgeted for, so we'll have to take a look at that for next year. So the total amount that was estimated or budgeted for the public buildings for fixing was $16,050. And if we can go ahead with these particular repairs on the building, it would be $19,038, which is approximately $3,588 over budget. And we did have some other things that were in line to be fixed, but at this time, we could probably do a little bit, go longer without fixing those particular items. So we're looking for an approval of $3,588 over budget for the public buildings for repair. Does that cover
Now,
it?
those numbers were including the 600 that were for the board notice and the
Right.
$100 for the
Right.
bathroom floor.
We did not do that. That's another thing. We had budgeted for $500 for a notice board to be put outside of the building. We haven't received costs on that yet. And the bathroom floor repair in the building was $100. And then we also had outside repair, which was, there's a section of the wall in the northeast corner that the water is slowly removing the concrete from that section. And I had spoken to one of the contractors, and they said that they would seal up that part of the building. They would not charge us any extra money for repair of that concrete wall. And I spoke with the metal capper, and he had said that he would, for just an extra $100, put a metal cap on the end of the wall so that it at least looks presentable.
All right, is there a motion to approve the public buildings repairs? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll make the second just for discussion.
Discussion. Motion been made and seconded, discussion.
On the outs,
Yes, so, where would you plan on getting this from? Contingency to go over the 3,000? 3,588, is that what it is, over
Right,
budget?
well-
Like anything we do, Bill, I mean, even if the squad car came in $1,000 over budget, we'd go ahead and do it. And then we'd reconcile our accounts by the end of, well, sometime in October, November. We would look at which accounts are under, that have leftover funds that we can move, or we remove it from our contingency plan to reset that budget.
So was your surprising amount was the outside cost?
Yeah, and quite frankly, this is one of the lowest ones. We actually had three that were as high as 17 or 18, 20,000, so. And this is a firm that actually does this as a profession. They're a building caulking firm, so very reputable firm. So, I mean, we had just a ballpark idea last year, and I think Patty had made an attempt to get a good number, but it's, there's more caulking that needs to be done than what it was looked at. So this building is what, built in the mid-60s? And this is the first time we're doing any outside caulk repairs, and they said it was pretty surprising that it lasted that long. Caulking does crack after time.
so are these local contractors?
Some are and some aren't.
3 out of 4 are. The only one that's outside would be the outside caulk. We couldn't get a local reasonable number.
And how many, and I think you answered the question, you got 3 bids for each?
We had at least 3 on the
On the
caulking.
big one? Yeah, the other ones
On the
are-
Several on the windows, 3 on the windows. Mhm.
Okay. So then are we just not doing the board notice, the bathroom floor and the...
That can come up again if we want to, if we get a good price on it, and Patty wishes to put it on the agenda, the public building could look at it and recommend that we pull the funds from contingency, if we so desire. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Motion carried. We'll notify the contractors, and we'll need to send a thank you to the other
Yes,
folks
sir.
for their process of, you could ask maybe the staff to help you.
Okay.
All right, that cleared a lot of paper away. All right, item 12 is approval of notice of records access for 2014.
It's a yearly approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, Bill, second.
I'll second.
Dan, any discussion or question?
Right. In this paperwork, it refers to a floppy disk. Do they do floppy disks anymore?
No, probably not.
So I don't know if this is wording that is mandatory by the state, or is that something that we need to,
Geez, Dan just did this a couple of years ago.
right? And they refer to discs and CDs, so I just wondered about the floppy disk verbiage.
Should just probably delete it.
Even in the, Mr. Chairman,
Bill?
even in the Department of Revenues, for their 2014 January, they have disc or tapes. I mean,
They're still
even in
still
theirs.
talking about it, huh?
Yes, they are.
I can just, I mean, you can make the motion with the
Yeah.
correction to be,
Media. Current media.
yeah, that would be a good wording.
So that might change next week, huh?
Okay.
Did we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Seconded by?
Me.
We did Bill
I'm
and
sorry.
Dan already.
All right, I'm-
Okay.
I got confused in that discussion.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so Bill, I assuming that your motion was then to make the correction to the
Yes,
media?
yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. And we're on 13 is the annual donation to the July 4th Wisconsin Rapids fireworks. We budgeted 1,000, I believe.
I'll make a motion that we donate $1,000 for the annual 4th of July fireworks.
And that goes to the that goes to the community foundation, is that all it goes to?
Yeah, through the
Through the community.
team.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Motion Dad, seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? None. 14, approval of resolution 2014-09 amending ordinance 39, which is a schedule of fees and forfeitures to update for changes from ordinance 21 parking, amended 4/8 of 14, and ordinance 52 zoning. Yep, go ahead.
Town Board of the Town of Grand Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin resolves as follows. Ordinance 39, regulating schedule of fees and forfeitures is hereby amended to include in the table of fees, we would be deleting its 2110M, a notification of inoperative vehicle due to changes that we did in ordinance 21. And we will be inserting ordinance 24, which is our building ordinance, non-commercial building permits, the heating and air conditioning, in parentheses, will say includes outdoor wood burner furnaces, which is $40. That is our normal heating and air conditioning. Permit fee, we just added the outdoor wood burning. A single wide manufactured home, and the double wide manufactured home would be listed at, wait a minute,
400 and 450,
yeah, I know.
550.
Did we make that change yet?
Came out of,
It came out
Okay.
of Plan Commission.
It came
as
out of
far
Plan
as
Commission, right,
That we
and
made that,
the change was done in the zoning ordinance, okay, taking that fee out, so we need to add that fee. So those numbers, the Plan Commission had recommended $400, the permit fee for a single wide manufactured home, and $550 for the double wide. Those numbers would be, I guess, up to you guys tonight, because you haven't discussed those two numbers yet. You guys had said $550 when you looked at it at
legislative.
legislative. So they wanted to drop it down to $400 for the single wide. We would be adding in zoning, under 52, the zoning, the outdoor wood burner furnace permit of the $40. It's not two permits, it's just the one, but in order to cover it under the 52, our attorney said that would be, we should put it in our fees and forfeitures under 52. Under the table of forfeitures, we would be inserting on 21, parking citation late fee. What we would be inserting, and this goes back a month or two when we did the ordinance 21, just in parentheses, it says if not paid within 10 days of issuance. So any parking citations, if they are late, would be a $10 late fee.
Okay, those are the changes. I guess the question for the board is if you are comfortable with the 400 on the single wide and 550 on the double wide.
can I explain a little bit from the Plan Commission and the reasoning behind the
You may.
differences? Thank you. Our Plan Commission met and discussion was about a manufactured home being set and the difference or the amount of work that it takes for the inspector to ensure that the mobile home is set up correctly. And a single wide is less time consuming than a double wide. So that was one of the reasons why they felt that there should be a price difference rather than a one overall type of charge. So that was the difference between the two, rather than having a one straight flat fee. And then we talked about the $40 air condition, or the $40 permit to be for outdoor wood burners, that they would come in and pay $40 for the heating permit, and it would be underneath that. And I just would like clarification, when you were talking about that, the plan commission did want to make sure that it wasn't that every wood burner would have to come to the plan commission for approval. That's not
No.
what this is, okay.
No, this is strictly our fees and
Structure.
structure fees, no
Okay,
fees.
because we didn't feel that it needed to be approved. The inspector could do that.
Yeah,
on his
it's
own.
just the, more or less the heating permit.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any further questions?
So just to clarify, that $40 fee for the wood burners, it's not a heating and air conditioning fee and a
No.
wood burning. They're gonna pay $40, not each fee,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
So if I put in a wood burner 2 years ago, did I have to pay that $40?
Whatever our ordinance fee cost was at that time for a heating one,
Yes.
Yes, you would
He
have.
has,
Had to get a
he has
permit.
been charging and giving the heating permit for the outdoor wood burners.
So if I replace my outdoor wood burner, I have to, this is a replacement just like a furnace.
Yes.
further questions? Hearing none,
Now you need a motion.
did we get a motion? Yeah. to
No.
Approve resolution 2014-09?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2014-09.
Motion Dan, second.
I'll second that.
Bill, you got in there under the wire? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. All right, we're on 14, correct? 15, there we go, one line down. Confirmation of reappointment by Town Chair Arnie Neisner of Don Ewald to the Police and Fire Commission for a 5-year term, May 2014-2019. We did send him a letter. He has agreed to it. The letter is on file by state's regulations, so I would make that motion, or I would ask for
I'll make a motion.
confirmation of my appointment.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Don Ewald to the Police and Fire Commission for a 5-year term.
Motion Dan, second. Patty?
Ken? Sure,
Any further discussion?
yes.
Go ahead.
So, just for the sake of letting other people know and for communicating, Don Ewald has been on the Plan Commission for,
Since day one.
okay, and the Plan Commission's been in effect for how many
Police and
years?
Fire?
Or, excuse me, the Police and Fire Commission?
Fall of
Since Chief Stanhope was-
2007.
2007.
Fall of 2007.
So he's had quite a bit of experience being on this board. Okay. All right.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the confirmation of Don Ewald to the Police and Fire Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Confirmation appointment of Town Chair Arnie Neisner for Town Committee appointments, May 2014, 2015. No changes from last year. I wish to commend the various committees for their diligent work this year. So I think everybody worked well together, so I'm going to leave them the same. Vice Chair would be Alf, Legislation would be the full board, Ambulance would be myself, the Airport would be Glendenning with Lumbee as the second, Budget and Finance, the Chairman, the Clerk, and the Treasurer. Economic Development would be Paulson and Alf. Personnel would be Elf and Nystrom. Public Buildings, Lumbee and Nystrom. Public Safety, Elf and Paulson. Public Works, Nystrom and Paulson. Recycling and Solid Waste, Glendenning, Lumbee, and Carol Davis. Weed Commissioners Rick Austin and Arnie Nystrom. We love our weeds. Is there a motion to approve those reappointments?
I will so move.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Dan. Any discussion?
And just, if I may, you had indicated last year that you wasn't on the budget committee? Didn't you say that? You didn't participate in the budget?
We didn't meet.
We did not meet as a pre-group. We felt that the staff could give us the numbers that we needed rather than me sitting there, because all they brought us was raw data. And then we as the board then took the thing as open. So,
Okay.
that's it.
We brought it straight to the full board.
Saved us some money.
Another thing, we had hired Mr. Billmeyer, and he has background and I believe he's licensed also for...
Weed eradication?
Yes, so I was wondering if, if there was any interest on his part, did we look into that, or?
Normally what we had done in the past was just put the lead person on as the commissioner.
Okay.
And obviously he can direct his staff, whichever staff he thinks is appropriate, to determine what kind of weeds those are. And if they're sticky ones, to proceed to eradicate them. We very seldom find any weeds that are illegal in set in cars.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Put him in line next year. After he's got his feet wet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we had a motion and a second, correct?
Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Confirmation of appointment of town chair by Chair Nystrom for a new member to the Plan Commission to replace Jim Scott for the remainder of the 3-year term, which expires May 2015. I've had 5 people indicate their interest to me. I'm selecting as my recommendation a person that's been on the Plover Planning Commission, 2 years on the Board of Appeals of the town of Grand Rapids, 6 years on the Planning Commission for the town of Grand Rapids, and that's Jeannie Fairman, who I'd like to make the recommendation to the board. Is there a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to appoint Jeannie as the new member of the Plan Commission.
Remainder for the 1-year term?
Yep.
Is there a second? I'll second it for discussion. Discussion?
If I may? I don't feel that that would be a good recommendation, only because of the fact that I think the people did speak as far as the regular election, that when she ran for town supervisor, that she wasn't elected at that time, so I can't really see why we would have that position as a plan commission chair be filled by that position.
My thought there, quite frankly, was I was going to ask the first person on that did choose to run for re-election, the highest number person, was going to be my recommendation. So if it was Mr. Morris, it would have been the higher one, he would have been my choice to ask for the commission. I felt that person put themselves in front of the public and said, here I am, I'm willing to serve the town of Grand Rapids, and that's why I made my recommendation. Obviously, this person that I'm recommending was on the Plan Commission when we developed our comprehensive plan, so that person has a lot of experience to the comprehensive plan, along with our zoning ordinance and past activities on the Plan Commission were highly acceptable. That was my recommendation. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed?
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed.
Motion is fails. Okay, I will make another appointment at the next meeting that we have. Recommendation. Moving to 18, confirmation of reappointment by Town Chair Ernie Nystrom of Tom Arnold and Dave Elf to Plan Commission for a 3-year term to be 2014-2017.
Chairman, I would like to separate that. One of them I'm not in favor of confirming.
Make 2 motions, right?
Make 2 motions, I guess.
I would make a motion to approve Tom Arnold to the chairman's appointment to the Plan Commission.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, discussion. Tom is a very good candidate. He's been involved in real estate for years. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? Second person that I recommended was Dave Elf. Dave's been on the board for minimum of 3 years.
I'll make a motion to put Dave back on the board for, Dave Elf on the planning commission for a 3-year term.
The motion to reappoint Dave Elf. Is there a second? I'll move to second for discussion.
One of the reasons I'm not approving of Dave Elf is the fact that I feel there's a conflict of interest. His wife is on the town board. And the other thing is, at one time, he was appointed by previous chairman of this board, and there's board members did not approve of it because his wife was a clerk at that time and thought it was a conflict of interest.
Further discussion?
I too believe that there's a conflict with having multiple members of a family working at, like in most businesses, a relative generally does not report to another higher up relative. And I feel that the Plan Commission does report to the board. I think that our family is a very nice family. I have nothing against them personally, but I would like to see a little bit more of involvement if we do have other people to choose, to maybe get some, different people involved in that other than family members.
I think we should use the word conflict very carefully, because I think if there was any conflict that would have been present, certainly our attorney would have brought that to our attention in the past. What are you determining the conflict to be? I mean, they act as a separate body. We don't tell them what the Plan Commissioner tells the board what they feel about our ordinance. We, as the elected body, don't tell the Plan Commission how to think. Do we? Do we, Bill?
I don't.
Well, I don't care to give you an example, but yes, I do. I personally think it's a conflict of interest. Our town attorney is not a board member voting on this, and the town attorney is not going to tell me how to vote.
I didn't say that he was going to tell you. I would have said, what I said to you was, I would have believed that he would have told us we had a conflict. All right. Yes.
Mr. Nystrom, just a point of clarification, Mr. Elf was appointed by myself, and his wife was not the clerk at the time, had not been the clerk for numerous years prior to that appointment.
I was clerk when Dave Elf joined
Mr.
the...
Chairman, there's other previous chairmen than Don Bone.
Dave Elf has been on the Plan Commission for 3 years. And at that point in time, Kathy was not the clerk. I was the clerk. I've been the clerk for 7 years.
I know that. I sat, if I may, do you want to hear why?
I guess if you want to get into a verbal back and forth, we can do that, but the point is just been made that if you were referencing, so the motion has been made and seconded to approve. You all know what happens if the vote goes away. you want it to, or you feel it wants to go. So all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is denied. I'll bring a new candidate. So let me get to,
May I make
19?
a point, though? One point, though. You canceled, or the plan commission has been canceled last Monday, and it will go on next Monday. If you don't have these appointments, can you have a meeting next Monday?
they need 5 members. No, they don't. They need 4. Excuse me, Bill. The 4 for 3. I may have candidates. We have a meeting that I could tie onto, which would be the Thursday meeting. We could have it posted. I could put, hopefully have no recommendations for Thursday.
For Thursday at our board of review?
Yeah, I could put it on afterwards.
No, you cannot. I don't mean to tell you,
We
but
can
you...
post a separate meeting at 8
Oh,
o'clock.
post a separate meeting.
I
didn't hear
wasn't saying
that.
adding it to the agenda, Bill, no.
Oh,
I
okay.
understand that. I've been around the block here too. What I was saying, it was post after the close of that meeting at approximately whatever time, or before I could do that, for that matter. And I
Or you
would,
can postpone the plan commission again.
okay, appointment of town chair Ernie Nystrom for chairperson and vice chair of the plan commission. I've talked to Justin Connor Johnston. Connor has agreed to take the lead and be the vice, or be the chairman, and Tom Arnold indicated he would serve as the vice chairman again.
I'll make a motion to approve the chairman's request. I think it's an honorable one.
I'll second that.
Motion, Bill, seconded Dan, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Unanimous. Discuss moving forth on returning abandoned road right-of-way between North Park Road and Wazeecha Avenue. I don't, what I have in front of you is a picture. I'm not totally, I didn't get a chance to go down to the county to get the verbiage right, so I would want to table this item if I could.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to table discussion of the abandoned road right away.
Motion Dan to table, second
Second,
Patty.
Patty.
Thank you. I'll bring it, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. We'll bring that back once I get county language. It's a little better than this map here.
So the motion was to table it until
Motion
the
to
next
table the
meeting.
next meeting,
Thank you.
next board meeting. I should say next board meeting in June, because I won't need time to get it.
Yep.
Item 21, discuss allowing Beery Cranberry through Earth Incorporated to harvest mature trees off property dedicated for a possible future road, Adler Street in Pine Court. This is something we just recently found. We even knew that there was a road laid out. There was about 4 rows of trees there. They are going to harvest a large section of it because the trees are mature and ready to be harvested. Earth Incorporated came to me and asked us if we wanted to go ahead and harvest the trees too, and they would then pay us for those trees as they harvested. This layout of this never went any farther than just being a proposed layout of it. And lo and behold, we had a proposed future park somewhere down there too. So what we want to do is just clear cut those trees too.
What part is it that we're actually clear cutting? Is it?
Just the Adler Street,
Oh. It's just there?
yeah. The Cranberry Company owns all around it except this lot and this lot, 7 and 6.
Are these beds or what are these?
No, this is houses right here, Eagle Road, and they have double deep lots.
Oh, I see, okay.
So you're more or less just taking that road right away.
Taking that road right and clearing it up, and then we'll harvest the trees at our, and return some funds to the town.
I'll make a motion to Earth Incorporated harvest the mature trees off the property dedicated for the future road.
Motion by Dan, second by
Patty?
Eddie. Further discussion?
the slashings from the harvesting, we went through that and still going through. What are we gonna encounter, do you think? We're gonna have upset residents, or we're gonna have
No,
fire
we'll-
hazard?
We'll get it taken care of one way or the other. Either we'll, if, I think Earth said they were going to clean the slashings too, if I remember right.
I think I saw that someplace.
Yeah, so if, irregardless, we'll get the slashings taken care of, whether we get the county crew to do it for us or whatever, but we'll make sure that it's not a mess when we get done.
Okay, thank you.
For discussion, anything? Don?
I don't know if it matters, but it's not Earth Incorporated, it's Earth Forestry.
Earth Forestry,
They're
excuse me.
technically separate companies.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you for the correction.
Can you amend that?
Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Twenty-two, approval of refund John Becker of Becker Sign for property tax charges 2010 to 12 due to property where signs is located having been annexed to Bearn in 2009. I guess, Chris, he did not send back what's called the blotter.
Correct. Mr. Becker continued to pay his taxes for all of the years that we have noted on the agenda, not mentioning that his sign was no longer in Grand Rapids. This year he was delinquent, so upon sending him a delinquent notice, he said, you know, that sign is not in Grand Rapids. Why do I have to keep paying it? Mr. Becker, you do not. We can refund him $100.59 for the years. He won't pay this year, we can charge that back, which means we'll get our money back from the county, state, and the schools for taxing him on that. And then if we could just refund him the $100.59, that's all he has.
Okay.
No,
Personal property is only collected by the town, correct? There's no school district portion out of that? There's no county portion out of personal property?
Yes, there is. That's what when I said we can charge that back, there is. I do chargebacks every year to the county, the state, and the schools for the portion that they get. The only thing about personal property is we keep the whole tax, we keep, the county does not help us collect this. This is ours. That's not coming out right. Okay.
we'll try again.
No,
No, that's all right.
No, he's saying that we get all of it, that none of it goes to the county or the state.
well, I can charge that back though. So I do
Correct,
get
yes, I
money back
agree with you there.
from the county, the state, and the schools.
But you don't have to, the county does not have to, you don't have to get money back from the school district, you don't have to get money back from the county. That's all right, you,
Okay, I'm sorry.
All
I
right,
have a
so
tax bill in front
you
of me.
want to charge of a refund, was $100.50?
$100.59 for 3 years.
I'll make a motion to refund to John Becker of Becker Sign personal property of $100.59.
I'll second that.
Motion Patty, second Dan, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. April disbursement vouchers, any questions? '24, operator license application, James Greavy and Rochelle Greavy, Keller International. And are they all on here?
Yep.
Okay. And Liz Kazuski, Kurt Hyman, Marcy Berlin, Kelly Hyman for Ruby's Reds.
I'll make a motion to approve those people.
Motion Bill, second.
I'll second.
Dan. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Motion carries. Monthly reports from committees. Public Works, crew's doing a lot of continuing adding, putting up the larger signs on the higher speed roads, the 45 and higher mile speed roads. I believe weight limits signs came down today, Rick, is that correct? Weight limit signs are down. We finally have fallouts. Other equipment is doing fine. said.
You tell them to hit the road?
Any questions on Public Works?
How's the new grader working?
Nice, nice.
Greater.
I drove it. I drove it and there's a little ding in the blacktop in the parking lot.
Couple sprinklers thinking.
It wasn't a sprinkler though. All right, we'll go across the Airport Commission. Bill, you ready?
Yes, the Airport Commission, we had no FBO report because our flight base officer was in the hospital with minor surgery. However, the slash that was just discussed again, we're sending out to the same group that from the Firewise meeting, the Lambert, is it?
Yeah.
What is that group? Yes.
Lambert Forestry.
So we'll have 3 bids on having to clean that out. But just to let the public know that you can still cut wood around the airport property all the way to County Trunk Z on the west side. And there's quite a bit of wood there. And we're looking at a tanker for our snow removal equipment, our tractor, a tank that we can fill up with the diesel fuel and move it around. Otherwise, there wasn't much other to discuss. We did have a person that was going to service our systems for our flights coming in and leaving the equipment, but he's not, we found out he's not certified, so we're looking for somebody else now. That's it on the airport.
Question, Bill, couldn't you put a tank on the back of a pickup truck and?
Well, that's what I thought. Coming in with estimates of $18,000.
Oh, my Lord.
To carry.
So it's only gonna use, what, 10 gallons a day or something at the most? I think I would encourage him to look at something for the back of a pickup truck or something.
Yeah, you got that right.
Just to meet the NFPA requirements, you'll be dumbfounded what it'll take. I would encourage him to have it mobile on a pickup.
Yeah.
When it get, you know, putting it on a trailer doesn't exempt you from the NFPA requirements. If it's not on a licensed vehicle, you're in a whole different world.
Okay, yeah, we're looking into it. It was astronomical, the prices that came in. And-
Have them chat with me before they buy.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Cycling solid waste.
Oh, yes, our Choose to Reuse is going to be the 17th, which is Saturday. There's notices out, there's notices on the table there. I see Dale's here to volunteer to help. That's nice. We do have volunteers, and I appreciate the volunteers. We'll be on the radio at the noon show on Friday, the 16th. And I would like to know if when the building will be available.
Yes, we're looking at you.
For what?
For the Choose to Reuse.
Start the time.
Do you need it? Well, how much of the building do you want early, Bill, I guess?
Well, I just,
I mean, all you gotta do is tell Rick if you need it Friday and how
I
much
did
room
tell
you
Rick
need.
that. I did tell Rick that when I needed it.
You gonna answer?
And he had, yes, he said you was his boss, not me. So then I sent him a work order, and he hasn't replied to it.
We'll get it to you. Noon Friday, early enough? You want it all day?
No, I need it Thursday. Just a corner of it.
All right, we'll get it for you.
I
You can
had
have
a
it
whole week in
Thursday.
advance last time. And I want to know, is that equipment going to be out there that kids can climb on? Or is the equipment on pellets?
Well, the blades, the snow blades?
Well, I mean, it wasn't there last year, and let's just say I'm not getting the cooperation I had last year on this.
Well-
And I don't know why.
What stuff are you talking about?
I can come and show you, but I'm
I
not your
know where it
boss.
is, we moved everything away from the building, tomorrow Jake's gonna sweep the whole parking lot for you, so I don't know
Oh,
what
so
you're talking about.
okay.
We take stuff off as it comes off and pile it up out there. That's our routine. Just,
And the committee's going to be working on the bids, they don't call them bids anymore. They call-
Proposals.
RFPs.
Proposals.
Yes, request for proposals.
And you are wearing vests this week out
Yeah,
there?
yes, yes.
Oh, it's important for you to be identified so people start handing money off to the wrong person.
They're gonna have targets on.
Okay. Plan Commission, Patty.
Yes, We met on April 14th and we also met on April 28th. We, between the two meetings, we approved 3 dog exemption permits, 1 land use permit. We approved an antenna to be added to an existing cell tower, 1 wheelchair ramp for a commercial building. And we're in the process of discussing the garage in a box, the vinyl sheds. And so that's what's going on with the Plan Commission.
Okay, public buildings.
Well, you and I met on April 30th.
Yes, we did.
And, yes, and we discussed our proposals, and thank you very much for approving the repairs to the building. I think that was a very good decision. And then also, I just want to mention too, that the municipal building will be closed on May 26th in observation of Memorial Day.
Thank you. Questions for Patty? Legislative Committee will be meeting tomorrow evening. Agenda is, of course, the various things that we've been working on for a long time. I don't have the agenda quite in front of me, but I know
Speed limit.
speed limit signs.
ATV, snowmobiles. And there's one more. Oh, firearms.
Firearms. Okay. There we go. All right, public safety. Dan, I don't think you guys met, have you?
Nope, we haven't
Okay.
met.
Economic development, any progress?
I have talked to a couple people with the Reggie group,
Mhm.
and we are trying to get together on a time when they can come out here and explain where they are at in their process and what their plans are. Once we get a date confirmed that we can all agree on.
May I just say one thing about it? Last night I was at the Village of Barron meeting, and Reggie was introduced there, and they're looking for $1,500 from Barron.
So anyways, so we'll let you know when that meeting will take place.
Part of the economic development is, you know, I've been talking to Ann about a little bit of promoting our business climate. Obviously, this town isn't ripe for a lot of businesses that would require sprinkler systems. However, there is an opportunity, if a big one would want to come in, there is a way for them to get a sprinkler system by tapping onto a high-speed well or various things here. So we want to keep the communication open between us and any potential businesses. And the one thing that is quite promising for our area is we're one of very few communities that have 1 gigabit internet capabilities for high-speed internet. That's a very big plus for a community to have that. And there are very few communities in the state that can boast that have that. So it's a big plus. So many businesses, some of our home businesses operate with the internet primarily as their main source of buying and selling things. That the internet is very important to them. We have over, Chris, what did we count? Over 119 home businesses? Was that around the number?
The total number of businesses from the assessor's report is 159.
159 businesses in the town, and you look around, you think, well, where the heck are they all? But quite a few of them are out of their homes, so we do appreciate that, and those are employment numbers. So Personnel Committee didn't meet. Any reports from individual board members? Bill?
No, I don't have anything.
Dan?
I guess nothing, I just wanted to touch base. And Mel brought up the new ladder that was sitting out there. At this point, we are still, the fire department is in the information gathering stage. They're not committed to buying one as of yet. They're just gathering information, putting it all together. I'm hoping that public safety will have a meeting shortly and get some updates and discussions and moving forward. But this is still in the infancy stage. It's far from being a done deal.
And Patty?
I don't have anything, however, I did have a citizen ask about the snowmobile. You had the snowmobile meeting, and they were wondering when you were going to be meeting again, if you had any ideas about that.
No, but we should.
Mhm.
Get
Okay.
moving on.
Now, one thing I mentioned to Dan is, in regards to that, Patty, was we should get verification from the snowmobile club if they're gonna have access to that property. That is the concern right now. If they're gonna have that access, then Dan really doesn't need to meet. He only needs to meet if they're going to have to ask for a different route. So, Mr. Dan will have to get ahold of Mr. Gluck
I'll talk to him this week.
and get that confirmed. If there's no change, then we don't need to
Then it's
stir the
resolved.
hornet's nest
Yep,
up.
exactly. Perfect. Thank you.
I have nothing else. Chris, you got anything?
Should I tell you about my conference?
Yes, where'd you go?
I went to Elkhart Lake, May 1st and 2nd, and some of the topics that we discussed were Sue Ann Nelson was there from the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, and she said that tech colleges are now have a revenue limit that is determined based on net new construction, additional state aid of $406,000 to be paid to tech colleges for the purpose of property tax relief. What this means to our two municipalities is that approximately 89 cents per thousand of equalized value, which would be a reduction of $134 of property tax on a $150,000 home. Also, the school tax levy credit that is due to the municipalities should be out by November 20th, which is sooner than previously reported to us, so that helps us with getting our tax bills out quicker. We had Attorney James Macy from Fair Labor Standards Act. He discussed the difference between employees and volunteers, hours of work issues, and Wisconsin wage rules. We had the Horton Group speaking on municipal insurance. The economy in general was a topic. Do you trust your bank? The FDIC.gov website gives information about any and all banks, and our banks are very reputable. Statutory duties of the treasurer and clerk, Carol Duran spoke. In the town of Grand Rapids, the duties of the treasurer and clerk are being done by statute, and we have many checks and balances as required by the state, and we are doing things properly. And Jeff Lemmerman from Cybersecurity, he was talking, it's kind of a scary topic, but I feel that our tech support guys have everything under control for us, and we shouldn't have anything to worry about. So it was a great conference. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good, thanks for the report.
You're welcome.
Judy, anything?
Nope.
All right, any additional items wishing to be on the meeting next time we meet? That, well, clerk and I will establish it, and you can tell us later. Favorite item of the day, item number 28. Motion to adjourn by
I will make that.
Dan, second by
Patty?
Patty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.